Podcast.
What's up? This is the Above Limits Podcast. This is Olympus Mons, the host. And today, I'd like to discuss the idea of what is a nationalist. The leftist media, the anti-Trump media, is basically saying that they're trying to equate the word. Well, actually, what they're doing is redefining nationalist. They're trying to make nationalist another word to suit their narrative of being anti-Trump and being against our president. When this all started, when a reporter, an African-American woman, asked Trump a question about, do you think you using the word nationalist and that it being a synonymous with white nationalism, etc., whatever she tried to say. It's not really important what she tried to say, because the narrative automatically is that nationalist means, when Trump says I am a nationalist, it's no longer what nationalist is defined. It's like some other definition that the anti-Trumpist media is trying to pin him. Basically, calling him a racist. That's it. Simple logic. Let's all use simple logic here, okay? So, when Trump was asked this question, he told the woman, that's a very racist statement. And you shouldn't ask those types of questions. You shouldn't ask me that question because that's a very hurtful question. He basically shamed her. And I personally believe, as an intellectual, anytime you want to redefine a word, or if you want to use vocabulary, use these broad words that you'd have to look up. When you use them incorrectly and somebody says, no, you're using that word wrong, and they're like, no, I'm not. Well, actually, yeah, you are. So get out a dictionary and look up what that word means. So they're basically trying to equate nationalism with supremacy, and because there's a white nationalist movement in America, they're trying to redefine that word as white nationalist, and you can't do that, and people should be shamed whenever they try to do that. So I got a clip right here from CNN, and we are going to go ahead and put that up and discuss the topic that they are trying to pose to everybody. And here we go. CNN.
President Trump's visit to France to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. During a speech in Paris on Sunday, the president of France took an implicit dig at President Trump, who recently called himself a nationalist. President Emmanuel Macron rebuked nationalism, calling it a betrayal of patriotism and warning against old demons coming back to wreak chaos and death. Here in the U.S., there are signs that President Trump's nationalist view is in fact inspiring white supremacists and other fringe groups who spread hate. More on that right now from CNN's Sarah Seidner.
It was a meme for the midterms on a website visited more than 2.5 million times a month. Us if we lose, it read, depicting white men ready for war, followed by them if we win, showing Jews being led to their death.
They're begging their followers to go out and...
I've never seen that meme. I have no idea. I've never seen that meme. It seems very outrageous of a meme. Jews going come on, guys. Jesus Christ.
Find ways to get Republicans in office because they believe it'll be easier for these policies to sail through.
There was a big day yesterday.
When President Trump celebrated the Senate victory, so did white supremacists. This changed history, neo-Nazi Andrew Anglin said on his site, The Daily Stormer, which is the most widely read neo-Nazi website in America. This is a race war, period.
They're surprised to see that neo-Nazis are saying this is a race war. I mean, number one, if there's any association with Trump and neo-Nazis and white supremacists, is because typically those groups always are in favor of Republicans. They have to like somebody, you know what I mean? And the real Nazis, the anti-Semites, they don't like Trump. This is a fact. On the internet, real Nazis that hate Jews do not like Trump because they see Trump's association with Netanyahu, his son-in-law Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is very friendly with Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister. So I mean, they don't like Trump. You know, I don't know where these people are getting this information from, but it's propaganda to make dumb people that non-player characters, to program them to just repeat that Trump's a white nationalist. He's white supremacist. Nationalism. Look at this title: Nationalism Inspiring White Supremacists. It's ridiculous.
So reveled in the re-election of Congressman Steve King, who has a history of making racist remarks, like in this 2017 anti-immigration tweet saying, "We can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies," or his unsubstantiated claim about immigrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border.
They weigh 130 pounds and they've got calves the size of cantaloupes because they're hauling 75 pounds of marijuana across the desert.
If last night was a referendum on Steve King's white nationalism, as the Democrats were trying to frame it, then white nationalism won, Anglin wrote on his site. Both King and President Trump vehemently deny they are racist or enable white supremacists. Trump pushed back at a recent press conference when asked if the Republican Party was seen as supporting white nationalists because of his rhetoric.
What do you make of that? I don't believe it.
But
Because he said, "I am a nationalist." Let's rewind that part. He said the reason for this question is because he said, I am a nationalist." Okay, and I'm going to define for the slow people what nationalist means. Okay, you can't change the definition. You can't do that. If you're a smart person, you can't be changing definitions. So let's re-listen to this.
White nationalist because of his rhetoric.
What do you make of that? I don't believe it.
But purposefully or not, the president speaks a language racists and neo-Nazis embrace, like his habit of linking immigrants to crime.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
The Government Accountability Office says right-wing extremists are responsible for the vast majority of deadly terror attacks in the U.S. since 9/11.
I was involved in
No, crazy people. Crazy people do these attacks. A couple of them were this the one that I can't point out to it, but a couple of them have been race related, and those were times when it was really the rhetoric against police was very volatile under Obama, and people were being killed. When's the last time you've seen a black man, people protesting over a black man getting shot in America? Under Trump, it hasn't happened, and that's when all these types of things happened. I mean, this is so people they don't understand this. They won't put that forward. The only narrative is what Don Lemon said. They're doubling down. White men are the most dangerous people in America. It's laughable. It's ludicrous.
movement at the very dawn of the internet.
Tony McAleer is a former skinhead. He says white supremacists look for any sign of approval from politicians in power.
The whole goal of people like me back in the day was to mainstream the idea.
It doesn't take an overt slur.
Okay, so a guy that has a thing, something lifeafterhate.org, a website that speaks on being an ex-racist. I mean, he's not going to easily get on CNN and say a couple of words that was supposed to impress or persuade me into believing this nonsense. I mean, give me a break.
for these individuals to basically become emboldened.
Take the president's threat to tell the military to consider rocks being thrown by migrants as guns being fired.
When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military police, I say, consider it a rifle.
Those comments cheered online by racist trolls. Hopefully they throw stones, they write. The Daily
Trolls, not racist trolls. Trolls say really stupid things. That's why it's called trolls. I mean, these people, I can't even listen to this. I can't even listen to this. It's just, it's so maddening that people gobble this up and this gets imprinted in people's psyche, and they go try to be in intellectual warfare with other people that are able to freely think for themselves. It's crazy.
Stormer's webmaster, Andrew Arheimer, is clear about their purpose.
We're trying to make a racist army.
White nationalists swooned at how the president described himself.
And I am a nationalist.
Translation, he's one of us.
It doesn't mean necessarily that he's saying that. It's just that he hasn't said anything to convince them that he disagrees with them.
Critics of Trump's rhetoric believe.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's hear what he just said.
Disagrees with them.
Critics of Trump's
I am a nationalist.
Translation, he's one of us.
It doesn't mean necessarily that he's saying that. It's just that he hasn't said anything to convince them that he disagrees with them.
Critics.
The president has said many times he is not a racist. He said many times that he is not a racist or a white supremacist. You can't. How else are you supposed to say it? Okay, you ask me, are you a racist? I say no. Okay, you either believe me or you don't believe me. You either, if I say no, then that doesn't mean, oh, he's a racist. Let's all be racist now. That's what they just said. So let's look here. Definition of nationalist. This is the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Okay. You cannot. This is the Webster dictionary has been around for ages. Okay. So nationalist is having or showing excessive favoritism towards one's own country. Okay. Having or showing excessive favoritism towards one's own country. So Trump's basically, Trump probably does love this country. Look at him. He's became a billionaire under it, or at least a millionaire. If you disagree, he's a billionaire. He became the president. Why would, the country's worked for this man. Why would he not love this country? You know what I'm saying? So having or showing love or support for one's country. That's what it is. Nationalistic, patriotic. Let's see. The antonyms: traitorous, treasonous. That means the opposite of nationalist. Disaffected, disloyal, disfaithful, false, fickle, and treacherous, unfaithful, unpatriotic. So there's a couple things that worry me about my argument. They defined it as jingoistic as a synonym to whatever, and it's like chauvinism or nationalism marked especially by belligerent foreign policy. I have no idea. Extreme chauvinism. That's like a male, man. I don't know. That's the only thing. If you look up supremacist, that's the only word that's a synonym to nationalist, but it's not the same word. Basically, you have like flag waver, nationalistic, super patriotic. Those are the key words that you need to you need to be looking into. And let's see. my whole argument is you cannot redefine words to suit your argument. Okay, if Trump says I am not a racist, and he says I am a nationalist, you can't equate nationalism with racism or supremacy, because it's not the same word. And when you take that word and you say, well, in 2018, that word is synonymous with supremacy or white nationalism. It has to do with white nationalism. No, it doesn't. It has everything to do with what the word is defined. Patriotic, love for one's country. That's it. That's it. So when the president says, I am a nationalist, he can say that. I just done told you, he's became a billionaire under this country, under how it runs. He's become the president under it. So, this is the Above Limits podcast. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and continue to watch my content. That is what I'd like you to do. And visit the AboveLimitsPodcast.com and share the video. So,